Welcome back to By Design Studios, everybody. This is the State of Hip Hop Address, week 2. This week I'm going to be doing a track-by-track review of one of my favorite artists, Pappoose. I've been a fan for years since I heard the first Alphabetical Slaughter. The Nacirema Dream, I've been waiting for the Nacirema Dream for years. I was almost starting to think it was another Detox. Nacirema is American spelled backwards, so the Nacirema Dream, the American Dream. I thought it was kind of clever wordplay. Let's get started. The first track is the intro, kind of self-explanatory. The second track, Motion Picture, his flow is undeniable. The beat goes hard. My favorite line is, "No time to think, creep like a night burglar, 'cause for my life I'd incite murder, vice versa." The dude's wordplay is brilliant. Track 3, Mother Ghetto, not really a great beat, but Pap's wordplay makes up for it and pays homage to his roots, as well as the late, great Biggie Smalls. My favorite line would be, "We broke the law for fun, them cats in Marcy'll make you cough up a lung. Wherever you from, represent the hood you live, keep it that way, don't come across the Brooklyn Bridge." Track 4, Aim and Shoot, features an artist I've never really been too big of a fan of. They have some good tracks here and there, and that's Mobb Deep. Not that great of a hook, but Pap's verse, Prodigy and Havoc, do their verses pretty well, and I personally don't really believe that Mobb Deep have the lyrical ability to hang with Pap. That's just my opinion. Next track is the skit, The Cure. And this concept is brilliant. Probably my favorite track on the album. He raps as if he was a different disease on each verse. Like, verse 1, he talks about the viewpoint as if he was cancer. Verse 2, he talks about as if he were AIDS. Verse 3, he is HIV. My favorite line, "But you should make sure they're clean. They clean the needles when you're getting them tattoos. I'm the reason positive means bad news." Track 7, the Nacirema Dream. Pap gives his outlook on what the American dream is. After all, Nacirema is American spelled backwards. Track 8, Pimpin' Won't Die. Story track of what happens and how kids are taught and how what they see around them impacts their choices and their lifestyle. 6 a.m. featuring Jadakiss, who's always been another one of my favorite artists, and Jim Jones. Alright track. My favorite line is, "You can still see me shining when the room get dark. I'm like Tony Danza, show me who's the boss." Track 10 is Law Library Skit. Track 11 is the Law Library Track, a song informing his listeners on their civil rights, that many people are uneducated and they get violated because they're uneducated. My favorite line would be, "Even though they're making them horrible laws, they can't search you without probable cause." The next track would be What's My Name, featuring Remy Ma. Remy Ma kind of ruins this track for me. Not very lyrical, horrible hook, but as usual, Pap murders his verse. Next track is On Top of My Game, featuring Mavado. Mavado begins the track with a very catchy hook. Pap comes very lyrical over a really hard-hitting beat. The next track is Faith. The beat kind of reminds me of Otis. Pap delivers probably his least lyrical track on the album, but still an entertaining track. The next track would be Turn It Up. Catchy lyrics. I personally wasn't really feeling the beat. Flow was better than any other track on the album. Next track, Die Like a G. I personally like this track, but I'm always a fan of a good story track. Kind of boring beat. Next track would be Get At Me, featuring Ron Browse. Good hook. You can tell Browse has a voice, but for some reason he kills it with this auto-tune bullshit. Not a great beat, but I guess they do alright with what they're given. Where I Come From, horrible hook. and beat. Not a great beat. Personally, I would have cut Data Stone's verse. Not Pap's best effort. The next verse isn't really much better. Following verse by O-Dog is quite an improvement. A little bit of a southern style. T-Mac follows and does better halfway through his verse. C. Brown begins spitting and completely destroys this track to close it out. Track 19 is R.I.P. Tribute to Friends Dead and Gone. Not bad, but not great. Track 20, the sequel to one of probably the greatest display of lyrical ability of all time, and that's Alphabetical Slaughter. Well, Alphabetical Slaughter Part 2, he goes from Z to A. Better than the original. He doesn't really crap out after 2 words on the difficult letters like Q and Z like he did on Alphabetical Slaughter 1. My favorite line would be, sparking street sweepers, sever stomachs, side splitting, silence and snipers, suspect, semen suspicious, shooting shotgun shells, shockers, shiverly snitches. Like I said, the guy's wordplay is brilliant. Overall, great album. If you haven't heard it, if you haven't heard of Pappoose, you are an underground rap fan that should be ashamed of themselves. If you're a fan, make sure you check out the Nacirema Dream. It's a banger. Thanks for tuning in to the State of Hip Hop Address Week 2. And next week, make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. Next week, I got something else coming for you. And I'm out.